people have been educated out of knowing what their feelings really are. When they're hated, they're told it was only dislike. When they're afraid, they were told there was nothing to be afraid of. And when they felt pain, they were advised to be brave and just smile. Many of the popular songs tell us to pretend you're happy when you're really not. What is suggested in the place of this pretense? Truth, emotional education can help children to know what they feel. It is more important for a child to know what he feels than why he feels it. When he knows clearly what his feelings are, he is less likely to feel inside.
There are different styles between men and women for intimacy. Women are somewhat more willing to share their thoughts and feelings. They disclose more than men. The information they disclose is more personal, and they value personal talk. Men disclose less than women, no surprise there. Grow close to one another by sharing activities instead of sharing feelings, and they show they care by doing favors or spending time together as opposed to sharing feelings.
All right, and this is an article that was actually by Blair Underwood, the actor, and it's actually in O Magazine. He just gave his statement of he got engaged 14 years ago, and his whole relationship changed when his wife actually, or his fiance at the time, stood up and said, you know, our roles have got to change. He was used to hearing a problem and fixing it, and she said, I just want you to listen. I don't need you to act upon it. I just need you to be there for me. So he just talks about now he has his perfect marriage because of this one conversation that they had. She disclosed enough to him to where he knew that where he would have to stand in all this. So had they not had this conversation, it would have been totally different for their entire marriage.
This is a video from the British television show Space, and it shows the difference between male and female disclosure. Melody?
On the show Space, there are two roommates that live together, a man and a woman, and Daisy is the woman, and she has just been broken up with by her boyfriend, so she goes to Simon Pegg, who plays her roommate, for some comfort.
Rich has finished with me.
It's hardly surprising, isn't it, when you were getting off with people behind his back? How can we finish with you?
Because I was getting off with people behind his back.
How did you find out?
Well, I told him. You told me to tell him. You said it would clear the air. Strengthen our relationship. I didn't mean that. Oh, you're evil.
I'm not the deceiver here. I'm not the cheating RP.
You're so damaged. Just because Sarah hurt you, you feel justified in wreaking petty vengeance on one of the
Yes. Yes. And I'd do it again, I tell you. I'd do it again in an instant. Sorry. So, are you okay?
Yeah. You know, I'm fine, I suppose. It's inevitable, really, neither of us. We're giving it the time it deserved. It's my fault. I feel... Tim!
What? You said you were fine.
Okay, which relationships disclose more? Female-to-female relations are obviously at the top of the disclosure list. Male-to-female relationships come in second, and male-to-male relationships involve less disclosure than any other type. Ashley?
And this is an article we found. It's actually a psychological bulletin, Sex Differences and Self-Disclosure by Catherine Dindia. It was a meta-analysis of 205 studies with almost 23,000 people conducted to determine whether there are sex differences in self-disclosure. Across these studies, women disclosed slightly more than men. This effect size was not homogeneous across studies. Several mediator variables were found. Sex of target and the interaction effect of relationships to target and measure of self-disclosure moderated the effect of sex on self-disclosure. Sex differences in self-disclosure were significantly greater to female and same-sex partners than to opposite sex or male partners. When the target had a relationship with the discloser, i.e. friend, parent, or spouse, women disclosed more than men regardless of whether self-disclosure was measured by self-report or observation. When the target was a stranger, men reported that they disclosed similarly to women. However, studies using observational measures of self-disclosure found that women disclosed more than men.
Right? There are cultural influences on intimacy. Self-disclosure is especially high in mainstream North American society. People from the United States disclose more than members of any other culture. Members of individualist cultures, such as the US and Australia, act more familiar with strangers and disclose more personal information than collectivistic cultures such as Taiwan and Japan. Intimacy in computer-mediated communication, or CMC. CMC is an important component in creating and maintaining intimacy in contemporary relationships. Researchers now know that CMC can be just as personal as face-to-face interaction. In fact, studies show that relational intimacy may develop more quickly through CMC than in face-to-face communication, and that CMC enhances verbal, emotional, and social intimacy in friendships. Computer-mediated communication can provide freedom of expression and relative anonymity more than face-to-face communication, giving relationships a chance to get started.
All right, and we found another article. It's called Mediating Intimacy, Digital Kisses, and Cut and Paste Hugs. It was actually a device that somebody created that's not out yet. It's about the size of a nano iPod, maybe like a beeper. And what it is you can set your own personal symbols in it. So instead of using words and getting all jumbled up, you can actually just send a message to your partner in a symbol that's deeper than what your words could mean. And these you can send them from back and forth to people, and it would allow digital hugs and kisses to be layered over instrumental communication. These intimate gifts could be stored, reviewed, and reused in ongoing intimate dance. This project explored the nature of intimacy and the potential of interactive technologies to support intimate acts. It proved that a device like this could actually help strengthen a relationship.
It's like creating your own personal emoticons and setting them back and forth so only you and the receiver know what they mean. There are limits to intimacy. It's impossible to have a close relationship with everyone. There just isn't enough time and energy, and even if we could seek intimacy with everyone we encountered, would any of us really want that much? Many of our daily contacts don't require any intimacy, such as purchasing something at the grocery store, carpooling to work, chatting with the mailman, or waving hello to your neighbor from down the street. Simply engaging in conversational give and take with both strangers and acquaintances can be enjoyable, but does not require intimacy. Self-disclosure is defined as the process of deliberately revealing information about oneself that is significant and would not be normally known by others. One way by which we judge the strength of our relationships is the amount of information we share with others.
And this article is short. It's called Getting Closer. It's by Collin and Miller. It talks about the three main effects of self-disclosing. Those who disclose intimate secrets tend to be more liked than those who don't. People disclose more to those they do like, relatively obvious. And people prefer those to whom they have made personal disclosures, not so obvious.
There are degrees of self-disclosure. Not all self-disclosure is equally revealing. Social scientists Erwin Altman and Dallas Taylor use their model of social penetration theory to describe two ways in which communication can be more or less disclosing. The first dimension involves the breadth or range of subjects being discussed. The second dimension involves the depth of information volunteered, the shift made from relatively impersonal messages to more personal ones. This theory is often described with an onion metaphor. As a person becomes more intimate with another, the breadth and depth of the subjects discussed delve deeper, and the layers of the onions are peeled away until that person knows you through and through.
And the last article over here is The Intimacy and Scarcity of Self-Disclosure. That's by Richard E. Petty and Herbert Merrills. An experiment was conducted to test the hypothesis that the relationship between the intimacy of self-disclosure and liking for the self-disclosing person is mediated in part by the perceived scarcity of the revelations. Within a factorial design, subjects expecting to hear a same-sex partner disclose information which was low, medium, or high in intimacy were either given no information about the scarcity of the disclosures or were led to believe that the partner would ordinarily reveal such information to a great many people or to very few people. Although both males and females gave clear evidence of disclosure reciprocity, males' liking for their partners failed to be influenced by either the intimacy or scarcity of the expected revelations. For females, when no scarcity information was provided, increased intimacy